let's get started with this thing.
Okay. What thing?
Nothing. We're just chatting.
Got it.
Well, how was it growing up for you? It's talking about kids in a family like that. How was it for you to grow up with all that music and at that level, right? And that lifestyle. Did you often travel with your dad or no?
I mean, during summer holidays, school holidays, when I was a baby, they brought me along everywhere, but I don't remember that. But how was it growing up? I mean, how is it for anyone growing? I mean, for me, it was just normal. That was the way it was and the way it still is. And looking back, like, wow, what a childhood. Yeah, I mean, I
Right.
saw a lot of things and met a lot of people that at the time I didn't even realize who the hell they were, like hanging out with all these awesome musicians. But I mean, I feel super, super, super privileged to have had a really nice childhood. Also, I didn't feel so much some kind of massive lack of father figure. I don't really remember him in my childhood memories being gone that much. Like he was a super present father when he was around.
Uh-huh.
And okay, yeah, he traveled a lot, but as he always said, I mean, a lot of parents are working every day from morning till evening. It's just a different kind of schedule upbringing. My mom was super, super devoted, and also to our musical upbringing. She was the one that was there around, like, getting us to actually
And a lot of people may not know, but your mom is also a cellist, right?
Yeah, I mean, she never planned on becoming a professional cellist. So she always loved music. She plays piano a bit also. But she played a bit in orchestra when she was young, and that's how she met my dad, playing in an orchestra, and he was playing with that orchestra.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
But yeah, she was a super great mom, and yeah, I mean, I feel super, super bloody lucky.
When do you think you made the shift from just being his kid to starting professional life, where you obviously played like a vast amount of the cello repertoire? And also,
well, I think it was always kind of his grand plan.
have the kids, yeah.
I mean, to have a trio also with me and my brother, he was always hoping it would work out. Not that it necessarily would. I mean, very often these things don't work out.
Mm-hmm.
But we played together kind of informally and little student concerts or whatever when we were kids. Actually, just the other day with one of my little brothers, Max, we were going through my archives of stuff, and I was finding all these programs. I kept every single bloody program from every concert, even when I was a kid, yeah? And going over all these old programs, stuff that I didn't even remember we played. I was like, really? We played Debussy Trio? I didn't even know there was a Debussy. No, I knew. But I don't know what it sounds like. You know what I mean? Like, we played it? Like, hilarious. But no, to actually start a professional relationship, I think it started a bit earlier than planned, even because we just sat down to play together. I was playing Brahms minor with a cellist friend at school.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my mom's birthday party, and everyone was like, oh, why don't you guys play something? And it's not that we had rehearsed or anything. I was like, well, I'm playing Brahms, we could try it in front of a whole bunch of people. And it was, yeah, memorable. I literally remember it, even though I was 16 or something. And I remember him turning around and looking at me, kind of clearly kind of touched, because it just went so immediately, like, kind of first time trying to properly play together at the time that I could already kind of play.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided to give it a go, and about a year later, I think I played my first concerts with him in Italy in March 2005.
So we have a common friend, Elisa Margulis, whom I met through you.
Yeah.
When did you start playing together with her?
Also, ages ago, I'd seen her around. I have memories of her just since forever, kind of crossing paths, but we never really talked. And also, I remember so vividly, like the moment that our paths kind of properly crossed in Lugano in Marta Arger's festival. That was 2006.
And her father was still alive back then, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So
I had taken a master class with him before that when I was like a teenager.
yeah, so a lot of people may not also know because Elisa doesn't come to the States that often, but Elisa Margulis kind of led a similar childhood to yours, being the child of a great pianist, Vitaly Margulis, who was no longer with us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But he was, you probably remember him. I had never met him, but he was sort of this larger than life figure.
So special. Such an adorable creature. Really, such a really adorable human being. And even though we couldn't even communicate that well, even though he taught in UCLA's English was like and my Russian like, so, but it didn't matter. He was just so full of love and of course a super special musician and great teacher. I took a couple of lessons with him, not enough, but still.
Yeah. So you started a career rather early then, as we already kind of covered, from age 16. So then you started playing.
17.
Huh? 17.
17.
And so I wonder, now it's been, how old are you? We're the same age.
We always go through this. Wait a second. How old are you? We are the same age, I think. Right?
I'm 33. You're 32.
I will be 33 this summer.
Okay. So I'm slightly older, but by now there must be a few sort of memories of performances or trips that are rather memorable for you, and I wonder what makes them memorable and why did they stand out in your mind, and what are those experiences?
Look, many. I'm very bad at choosing specific things, but of course, first times in Asia, first times being on tour in Japan, of course, just, total different universe. Everything's so hyper professional, smooth, perfectly organized, great halls, perfect pianos, amazing public. Not that in Europe it's that terrible, but still I always get the vibe that since classical music kind of originates in Europe, that the Europeans are already a bit spoiled and kind of don't really appreciate it as much as in different countries where it's a more novel thing. And you feel that very much in Asia. You really feel this passion for classical music. Yes, there are still some people out there. And I found the same thing with Latin America, which is much more recent discovery for me. I only started coming, like 3-4 years ago or something. Similarly, also you feel in a different kind of way, but still you feel this genuine love and interest and just passion for classical music.
So you've enjoyed South America. Well, and you came to the festival last year in Ecuador, which is part of the reason we're having this talk, is to share with those kids, right? With those.
And that was, for example, a super memorable experience, that festival. Really.
Why?
It's hard to say, I guess it must be a combination of factors, but I've been lucky enough to attend a hell of a lot of festivals, all different kinds of festivals. And yes, sometimes it just happens that everything clicks together. I guess it's all about the right people.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess, you put together a super nice faculty, but not only the students were super nice, everyone involved was super nice, and everyone getting along really well, and just relaxed, laid back atmosphere, and very enjoyable music making, and met a few people that, for example, Toby Hoffman never met, got to play with him, and super fun.
Yeah.
And getting to coach the chamber group, I'd never done anything like that before.
You hadn't taught a chamber group before?
Yeah, like master classes, but not played with them.
Yeah.
which
How did
is
you find
way
that?
more.
How did you find it being in the sort of the position of someone who's experienced and working with young people who are obviously talented, but maybe don't have the hours put in and the stage time put in?
Look, they were super reactive, and that's why I think it's probably way more direct to play with the students that you're trying to teach. And inevitably, I mean, there are things that you cannot really express, especially I'm not a teacher. So things that I cannot maybe explain, but I can somehow show them through playing with them and kind of bring them along with me into what I'm trying to kind of.
That's also sort of related to rehearsing without speaking that much. It's maybe the best way to teach, right? Because you're sitting there and you're indicating to them how they should listen, what you do.
Yeah, which is the most important thing for chamber music in any case, not only, but for chamber music, it's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know that they were ecstatic to have that opportunity. And
they were great, really.
I didn't prepare.
Really, it was very quick evolution from the first rehearsal to the concert, very short time actually, and I was really impressed.
So you've had tons of stage experience by now, and I wonder, in the concert, when you're playing all this beautiful music, what is going through your head? What do you think is sort of the...
Oh, don't ask me that.
No, but I mean...
What's going on in your head when you're on stage?
All types of...
Exactly.
But, no, I mean, in terms of that sort of, that relationship that we have with the audience, right? Does that go through your head? Do you think about, or do you think more, there's some people I think that imagine themselves being on stage alone because they feel like preserving that kind of intimacy is the best way for them to communicate something to the audience. Others really relish in that sharing it, right? Just openly, extrovertedly sharing it with the audience. And I wonder how you conceive of that.
No, good question. I mean, I think the audience definitely has a massive influence over the energy of the concert for sure. And you feel it more if it's a particularly bad audience. You're like completely like uninspired, and then you really notice and appreciate a very good audience. I'd say that my focus is mainly on the people that I'm playing with. I'm kind of really just in full-on communication with that person, and concentration, of course. But yeah, it's something about the energy, the atmosphere in the room. Like you can feel if they're really with you or if they're somewhere else and if you're not really connecting with the audience. And of course, you can feel the enthusiasm, or if you just feel that people are there just to attend an event or something.
Right. It's funny how you can, without knowing the people, and just they're at a distance, of course, when you're on stage. You can that energy is palpable.
Totally. It's strong. It's really strong.
Yeah.
And you feel if you play some private gig for 30 very, very wealthy people that really don't care, you feel also just total lack of interest, and
exactly.
Not very stimulating.
I know. We've all done our fair share of those things.
Yeah.
I love to talk to my friends about this stuff because it gives perspective, especially during these times. But I was wondering, for the future, I mean, we're too young to think about legacy right now, but I wonder, what would you envision will make you feel like you've done what you wanted?
Well, I think as musicians, we have the great privilege to leave something palpable on this earth after we've gone, which is recordings, right?
Yeah.
And whereas concerts are just really a moment in time, which is shared amongst those people in the room, okay, less and less because more and more stuff is filmed and streamed live and everything. But in principle, a concert is a kind of ephemeral thing, whereas a recording, I mean, we listen to recordings since the beginning of the technology, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been lucky enough to already make quite a few recordings, none of which I'm so incredibly happy with. I mean, always looking back and I'm like, oh, it could have been so much better.
Yeah.
So that's a good goal to strive for, to produce enough material that you're actually happy with and actually feel represents what you're trying to get across, which is not so easy because I find recording the most challenging thing, way harder than performing, for sure. Usually it's not live, usually you don't have that energy of the audience like we were speaking of, and you have the opposite, you have a whole bunch of microphones and you're there like
Yeah.
trying not to screw it up, especially if you're more than one person. Always when you nail it, the other one screws it up. Like always, the chance of it of having a good take for both, I've noticed that it's always one or the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really rough. So that's a massive challenge. And also you have these kind of, I mean, I don't know, you must also have some passion project stuff that you've always wanted to record, or like imagine which programs. And so, and it's harder and harder to get things done, although it becomes less and less significant even which record label, everything's online anyway. So
I know, it's interesting to think about what way that will go, because CDs aren't really used that much anymore, and so
it's just evolving.
yeah, it's all digital now, and I wonder if it's going to move into a more visual. I mean, it already has with YouTube and all of that, but I wonder if actual studio recordings are going to take on a visual aspect more and more, you know?
Yeah.
So visual as human beings. And now I think, well, I think the younger generation, which is going to be viewing this, relies so much on things like Instagram to get their music fix, you know, and those videos are so short and they're oftentimes just a fragment of a larger, beautiful piece. So I think students and younger musicians' familiarity with the music we play is in many occasions sort of diminishing, I think, you know.
Well, if you think about it, it used to be more of a thing, right? That there were classical music video recordings.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, I don't know, in the 70s, 80s maybe,
True.
there was, it was more of a thing that you would make like a DVD or video recording. And I think it's coming back in a different format. No, I mean, there's more and more
Right.
music videos or whatever, people getting creative and just doing their own thing even, and posting it online.
Sure. So it's coming back in a way that's good too. I mean, there will be more musical presence in the end and online.
I think if it's done well and in a non kind of tacky way, and the content is good, sure, why not? Whatever keeps this industry going, of course.
Yeah.
Especially in such precarious times like now. I mean, I don't even know what to think. It was already so screwed with culture in Europe in any case, just less and less funding, and now everything is completely screwed. So
Yeah.
it's all like, let's just wait and see what happens at this point.
So just to wrap it up a little bit, when do you feel like you've accomplished what you feel is sort of your responsibility as a performer or as a musician? When do you feel happiest when you're in this whole career, or fulfilled?
Look, I think we're all just striving to do our best, but it's part of the reason I think why a lot of musicians are eternally kind of dissatisfied, because we're always kind of trying to improve and striving for something which, I mean, we don't even know if we will attain. I think when you have these kind of magical, memorable performances where, I mean, as I'm more of a chamber musician, where, yeah, it just all fits, it all just, I mean, goes so naturally, and so much communication happening on stage, spontaneity, and real music making. Hey, I considered when we played our Brahms quartet in your festival, which, by the way, where's the recording?
I'll get it to you.
Sort it out. That for me was memorable. For example, that performance, I felt like we were really communicating and
loved it. I had so much fun with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing music. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. We're so lucky. We play incredibly beautiful music as a profession, yeah. And so when it's the music that you love, because okay, you can sometimes be forced to learn something that you're not so keen on. That's also part of it. But when it's just amazing music that you love with people that you get along with in a friendly way and in a musical way, and then it all just clicks together, and you have, I mean, you get high from this. I swear you get an endorphin rush for sure. I mean, this feeling when you come off stage from those kinds of performances, that's when I'm happy.